Hello, this is Dave from Net4Truth USA, Inglorious Patriots. It is May 24th, 2020, and the time now here on the East Coast and Northeast West Bumblefuck is 02:15 hours. Are there really that many retards in America? Are there really that many retards in America? That's the question. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of flaming, gaping assholes out in the America walking around with face masks on, believing the bullshit that they're going to die from the coronavirus, which is nothing more than a common cold flu type thing, and believing that their masks are going to protect them. Listening to Fox News, CNN. Yeah, and I said Fox News because they're going the mainstream media bullshit story route too. And I'll show you that in a minute. I don't think there's that many retards in America. We certainly have our fill of retards. We certainly have the lion's share of retards on the planet. But there ain't that many of them. We outnumber them 100,000 to 1. And the mainstream media, which now includes Fox News for this purpose, thinks that we're going to fall for the same bullshit that we didn't fall for back in 2016. They're saying that creepy, sleepy Uncle Joe, candidate for assisted living and involuntary commitment, because he's dinkadow, is leading President Trump. Oh my God. Talk about blowing smoke up people's ass. And some of these people got their assholes wide open and the Vaseline ready. And they love it. They love getting smoke blown up their ass. Apparently, if you want to believe the mainstream media. And just to make it clear, I don't watch the mainstream media. I just get clips from watching social media. This medium, their tube, in particular, who took down 4 of my channels and assisted in the process of my going bankrupt last year. But that's okay. That's okay, because I'm going to be here until I'm fucking dead. Get that straight, assholes. I'm going to be here until I'm dead. You can play whack-a-mole with my channels all you want to. I'll just put up another one. And now I've got about 20 people mirroring my videos. So you are not going to stop us, and you are not going to overwhelm the truth with your bullshit. The mainstream media says Joe Biden, who can't fill a high school auditorium, who insults people and molests people's children right in front of the cameras and doesn't think anything about it, and says, oh, that was the way I was raised. That's my nature. If that's your nature, you know where you belong? You belong in fucking Attica. In the special housing unit. They want us to believe that Joe Biden, who can't fill a high school auditorium, is leading Donald Trump. Joe Biden, who's hiding in his basement, getting his legs rubbed in his private pool by cockroaches or some shit, is leading Donald Trump in the polls. Oh my God. Listen, assholes, if sparrows had banjos in their asses, there would be music in the air. The 2020 election is going to be the biggest landslide in planetary history. And if peradventure you rigged the election and and elect a demon rat for the presidency, what you're going to end up with is a revolutionary war, an armed conflict, and you all are going to be taken out and shot or hung or dragged behind the jeep, just like Mussolini. Get that straight. Obviously, you don't have your finger on the pulse of America, because the pulse is running quickly toward your complete demise. Toward your complete demise. And I don't mean defeat at the polls, if you get my drift. We are sick and tired of the bullshit. If you have a cable subscription, cancel it. Because all you're getting on the mainstream media news is total, complete, abject bullshit. And if you believe a word of it, you need to have your head examined. Now, following this is Black Conservative Patriots. Black Conservative Patriot channel is one of my favorite channels. Well, I subscribe to about 300 channels. How the hell I got time to watch all of them? I don't. But he put out a video today that just blows the socks off of these idiots. And hat tip to you, my friend. I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to have you on my program, and maybe you can have me on your program. I'm a little too rough around the edges for your program, but you'd fit in with the Patriots. We're all different. We all have our ways. We all have our methodologies. But one thing we all have is love for this country, and we are not going to let the demon rats take it, even if we have to pick up a weapon and defend it the way it should be defended. I was ready to give my life for my country when I was 19. And I lived 50 years to see this. My father before me fought the Nazis in World War II. And I'm fighting the Nazis right here at home. And I'll be dipped in shit if you're going to take my country. Not on my watch. Watch this.
Now, let me show you this other part of the plan that they're doing with their false polling.
The latest ABC News Ipsos survey indeed shows 39% of Americans approve of Trump's handling of. That's the lowest percentage for the president since they started polling this back in March.
Oh, I forgot to mention something very important. They're not just trying to encourage and get to their leftist people that Biden is going to win. Remember, Paul Ryan and other deep state people are now at Fox News. So now they're using Fox News to push false polls to discourage Trump supporters, both Republican and Democrats. And I say that because, folks, you need to realize there are a lot of Democrats that still vote down-ticket Democrat but are voting for Trump. So they know that they have got to discourage us Republicans, conservatives, libertarians, free thinkers, and Trumpocrats, if you want to call them. So they're even using Fox News to push these false polls and data.
But now to politics, and Joe Biden leading President Trump by 8 points in the latest Fox News poll.
Getting new polling on the 2020 presidential race, former Vice President Joe Biden with a lead over President Trump. 48% of the respondents saying that they would vote for Biden if they were to cast their ballots today. As we look at that from last month, that is up 6% for Biden, down 2% for President Trump.
Biden sits at 48%, up 6 points since last month. Trump's at 40, down 2. There is a 27-point gender gap between the two, with Trump leading by 7 points among men, while Biden is up 20 points among women. Biden also has a 64-point lead among African-American voters, and Trump trails Biden by 15 points among voters under 45 and by 3 among voters 45 and older. Biden is also up 17 points among voters 65 and older, a group the president won by 7 points in 2016. Now, when voters were asked who would do a better job handling the economy, Trump narrowly leads Biden 45 to 42%. Biden leads the president on the question of who would better handle relations with China, healthcare, and women's rights.
Wow. Paul Ryan's influence in Fox News is starting to be totally apparent. Because let me get this straight. A man who's been in hiding in a basement and his home in Delaware for months now, a man who has gaffe after gaffe, who cannot put together a coherent sentence, who needs teleprompters to know what to say, and even when he's reading over the teleprompters, still misreads things and makes mistakes, has brain freezes, goes on a very popular show among urban blacks and totally insults African Americans on both sides of the aisle, a man who has corroborated allegations against him in the era of the Yo Tambien, Me As Well movement, a person who is involved in, and now I'm going to cover this later today in this episode, who has total evidence of corruption in Ukraine, including from his own mouth, and a person who is very, very much disliked by a lot of people, is leading nationwide and in key states and in every key demographic over our duly elected and beloved President Donald John Trump, who turbocharged the economy, who has cut taxes, who, working with Congress, passed stimulus bills to help people in this unnecessary crisis we are in the first place, who has taken on China and has exposed the deep state for who they are, who has proven to a whole bunch of Republicans, conservatives, libertarians, and moderates who were unsure of him in 2016 about his promises that he has kept, that he is actually building the wall, that he is actually making changes to and lowering regulation. All those things that people that would have voted for him were unsure are now going to vote for him, even though all of those things are happening in the favor of President Trump and not in the favor of Joe Biden. We're supposed to believe these polls that Joe Biden is leading in all these demographics and that he is going to beat President Trump in 2020. Wow. They really think you are that stupid. Folks, they hate you. They hate you because you voted in Trump, and you have been, you and I and the rest of us, we've been a threat to their power structure. We are a threat to their power structure. And that's their plan. Give us false polls and then steal the elections with voter fraud in November through mail-in voting, ballot harvesting, placing ballot drop-off boxes, and of course, ballot harvesting and all other types of shenanigans and fraud. That is the plan, folks. To me, it seems pretty obvious. If it has been obvious to you, I hope I've awakened you and I've made my case.
So joining me now, Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president. Kellyanne, good to have you here as well this evening. With regard to the handling of all of this is a new ABC News poll. And this one it lines up with other polls that we've seen as well about how the president is handling the crisis. 60% disapprove, 39% approve. And like I said, you're a pollster. By profession, and we've seen a number of polls that have him underwater on this mark.
And folks, what is the talking point of the left going into these polls? That the current crisis, which was manufactured and overblown and overhyped and fear-mongered by the left and the Mockingbird press, that President Trump mishandled this, and because he mishandled it, people are disapproving of his presidency, of his response, of his leadership to this crisis. And that is what's going to drive people to look for Joe Biden as an alternative, because President Trump flubbed this. That is what they're doing, folks. This is their talking point so hard when it comes to polling that they even have people on Fox News trying to hammer this home. Luckily, President Trump does have great surrogates in the Oval Office who don't fall for it.
Let's review what the president has done. Maybe the media don't cover it fairly and completely in many times, but look at what he has done. Things only a president can do. We've repatriated 93,000 Americans who were abroad. We're dealing with the other G7 leaders to figure out how to deal with a global pandemic together. He has worked across the aisle with Democratic governors who publicly and really privately have thanked this administration for surging the supplies of ventilators and masks and PPE. Every state has received billions of dollars in direct funding. Trillions of dollars have gone to distressed industries and individuals. So there's a whole list of things that only a president can do. The Defense Production Act, really getting the whole private sector together. So he's done that day by day, working around the clock, and I think people will see the fruits of that eventually. And I think many people see it now. They will. These polls
we'll see what
all
happens.
over the place.
I think that. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're there's a delay, but I just have to cut in.
Did you catch that last part? That was so subtle. I want to play you these last seconds again. If this were CNN, they would have cut off Kellyanne Conway and said that there was some sort of interruption in the transmission or they lost the feed. But watch again. Martha McCallum here is Kellyanne Conway is defending the president and giving his record. And as she's doing that, you look at Martha, she looks at her producer or whatever signal she gets from the right, and they're like, stop her right now. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, there's a delay. And she tries to change the subject. That is a tactic right out of CNN, and it shouldn't surprise us because Fox News now has CNN tactics. It's not just a matter of having Paul Ryan there. We're already seeing that they're trying to push false narratives. Don't forget that they now have Donna Brazile on their payroll in front of the cameras. Let me show it to you again, just in case you missed that.
Eventually, and I think many people see it now.
They will.
These polls
we'll see what happens.
All over the place.
I think that. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're there's a delay, but I just have to cut in.
Yep, folks. You see Martha McCallum here. Expect more of this from Fox News and the Paul Ryanites and the establishment rhinos, which, rhinos, establishment rhinos, Democrats, they're the same thing. They laugh behind closed doors at folks, trusting someone because they have an R in front of their name when they're just as much as deep state as a Democrat is. But folks, I just want to warn you, you're going to be seeing a lot more of this false reporting from Fox News, especially these polls and the talking points of the Democrat left as they prepare and try to condition and brainwash the masses of Trump supporters for an eventual disappointment when they steal the election with mail-in voting and other fraud. You're seeing it right here. I hope it's as obvious to you as it is to me.
Now, we've seen that the mainstream media have been a bunch of treasonous, lying rat bastards at least since Kennedy, since before Kennedy. We've seen evidence of it time and time and time again. We see that these people in the mainstream media, what our beloved president calls fake news, are the enemy of the people. They are working diligently around the clock, using every tactic conceivable to overturn the will of the people. And if or when that happens, we're not going to vote with ballots. We're going to be voting with bullets. And it's not going to be pretty at all. We don't want to go there. But at this point, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't seem that we're going to have any other choice. We either fight for this country and take out these treasonous lying rat bastards, or we give up and die on our knees. I would rather die fighting than die as a slave. Maybe I won't live long enough to see it. but I want future generations to have what I never had. I had the illusion of having it. You had the illusion of having it. But now they got a taste. They got a taste of the techno-Nazi dictatorship that is right at the door. And when they open that door, ladies and gentlemen, meet them the only way and with the only language they understand. You know what I'm talking about. Lock and load. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe to our backup channels, Net4Truth USA 2 Patriot channel, BitChute.com/net4Truth USA, and drop.space / Net4Truth USA. We fly so close to the target, we are on our 5th fighter jet. We will be relentless and persistent until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com / Net4Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.